Did you know that over 15 million civil lawsuits are filed each year in the United States? But most Reiki practitioners don't have liability insurance coverage. Professional liability insurance is a small investment that every Reiki practitioner should make in order to protect themselves against the threat of litigation. And even if you have the best of intentions practicing and teaching Reiki, you also need to protect yourself from claims, from accidents and other occurrences that could happen in your Reiki sessions or classes, whether at your office, in a client's home, whether you're traveling to practice or teach, or even working remotely. Hi, I'm Mary Riposo, and I've been practicing Reiki professionally for over 20 years. And I want to share 5 reasons why you need Reiki liability insurance. Reason number 1: someone could sue you if he or she trips, slips, falls in your class or office space. So, if a client were to slip and get injured in your class or office, a lawsuit could happen. And even without it being your fault, an individual could still hold you responsible for their injury, and that could even bankrupt you. So, without insurance, you'd be financially responsible for fighting the lawsuit. And if you have the protection of liability Reiki insurance, though, you could be covered. Reason number 2: you could be held liable if someone gets injured during a session or a class. And you might think that injury resulting from the practice of Reiki is rare, but it definitely can happen. And you've probably been very careful about choosing the right Reiki table, making sure that your clients are safe at all times. But even so, a client or student could still get injured getting on or off your table during a Reiki session, and you could get sued. That would be more of a physical injury, but there are other types of injuries that could happen. A client or student could have a mental health crisis, or they could even claim that you did something or said something inappropriate in the session or class that caused them injury or suffering. And either way, you could be held liable. And this is especially important as more Reiki practitioners are working remotely, which gives us less control over the situation. Reason number 3: the cost of 1 year of insurance is cheaper than a few hours with most lawyers. So, the basic coverage you can receive from Reiki liability insurance amounts to really just pennies a day, and it's a business write off. You could be covered as a student practitioner or as a professional practitioner, part time or full time. And with this insurance, you could have support and up to $2 million of coverage for a single occurrence. Reason number 4: you can't buy coverage after a lawsuit occurs. So, some practitioners, well, they kind of wait and see what happens. They don't want to jump into insurance right away. And they might feel that they don't really make a whole lot of money doing Reiki and they really can't afford it. But I guess I just want to say to you, I don't know how you really can't afford it. It's really important to get covered. If you're uninsured and you happen to get sued, you just can't buy coverage after the loss. So you're going to be financially responsible for the lawyer fees and, it can really snowball. So protecting yourself with Reiki business insurance can keep you safe before anything happens. Reason number 5: coverage follows you wherever you practice and teach. So you're covered if you teach at a private office, a wellness center, a spa, a gym, somebody's house, remotely, wherever you teach or practice, your Reiki liability policy follows you. And that's hugely important. So here's my referral information. And I'd like to just share it with you. If you call 1-800-222-1110 and use the code CNYRA, you can receive a policy discount on Reiki liability insurance with a really good company. And just to be completely transparent, I will get credit for referring you, but you could call that number even without using my code, and you would get coverage. You just wouldn't get my discount. So that's the insurance company's information. And for that, you would receive instant coverage, and just the one policy would cover 415 or more modalities. And so, what they do is they realize that some people are trained in multiple modalities and practice or teach more than one thing. And so, because of that, they will just ask you which modalities that you're trained in, and you just check them off, and you're covered for all of those things under one policy. So, you don't have to buy multiple policies for different things that you practice or teach. That's really, really fantastic for us. They also offer free additional insureds. So, for example, if you work out of a place that says, we're going to need you to put us on your insurance policy so that if you're sued, we don't get sued. That's called an additional insured. And usually you have to go to the insurance company, pay for that separately, and put that place on. So, say, for example, if you're working out of more than one place, it starts to get expensive. For this policy in this company, they offer free additional insureds. So that's a really good plus for them. There's also product coverage. If you happen to sell products, you can get, coverage for that. And you can get rental property damage protection if you're working out of a space and there's some kind of damage happens, you will be covered for that. You'll be covered for any equipment that's stolen or damaged, like your Reiki table or any of your other equipment that you use within your sessions, if you're doing something, in person or remote, as well as identity protection. And all of those things are really important, and they're really good additions to the policy. And I believe that there's even more than that. Those are just a few of the things that I thought I would just point out to you. So I hope you would take advantage of the special offer and begin protecting your Reiki practice today. It doesn't matter if you practice part time, full time, if you haven't completed your training, just do it for your own peace of mind. And in the end, regardless of how much you train, how much you prepare to practice or teach Reiki, uh, you can't really control what happens with students, with clients. You just don't know how they're going to react. We're working with energy, and sometimes that's, something that you just can't predict how people are going to respond. Some people are really sensitive, they have trouble staying grounded and processing the energy. And most of our clients and students, we really don't know very well before we start working with them. So you just don't know how they're going to react. And that can leave them vulnerable to falls, to maybe a mental health crisis, to, you just don't know. There could be anything that could happen with them. So make sure that you protect yourself by making the investment in Reiki liability insurance ahead of time to secure your career and your financial future so that you can continue practicing Reiki. Here is my information. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about this and to support you in your Reiki practice and in your business. And so get in touch with me if you have any questions or if you have any concerns, and I will put all of the information about the insurance below this video. And I wish you the best of luck in your Reiki practice.